Okay, and here we go again. Hello, Diane. How are you? I hope you are well. It's been a heck of a week, let me tell you. There've been some ups, some downs. Mostly good things, but there's always a few hiccups to go along with it, as any one of us adults will attest to. So let's see now. Tonight I'm drawing Mulan. Mulan is cool. If you don't think Mulan is cool, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but I'm entitled to tell you that, well, stuff, I guess. I'm just gathering a few of my references. I was stuck in a hideous amount of traffic on my way home, which is never fun. But what can I tell you? It's just... It's whatever. If you have to commute to and from work, you should kind of expect that there's going to be, some slowdowns. Why is it so difficult to find good references? Okay, I'm gonna need that for color and such. But first and foremost, oh yeah, we gotta put on some music, don't we? Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Diane. Alright, let's get draw cam going. I think we got the music up. So. Okay. In this camera, I'm not thrilled about this particular camera or this angle. Oh, yep, there we go. Kind of need that. Hair and I just got a hold of this Mulan model sheet, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, one of the secrets to why I feel like, I've learned so much from doing Drezen draws is the fact that, from many of the characters that I draw on here, at least in recent episodes, the first thing I look for in a reference is there a model sheet that I can find? Is there a model sheet that I can get of this particular character? And already I'm rusty. Also, we gotta bring down the fidelity of the brush a little bit, at least for the roughs. Let's see now. One of the directors of Mulan is a Facebook friend of mine, Tony Bancroft. Really, really, really talented guy. He animated the character of Pumbaa from The Lion King, and he draws a pretty amazing Mickey Mouse, I have to say. Tony, if you ever watch this, I'm going to share this with you if you're interested in watching. I hope I captured Mulan as, even half as good as you guys did For a second, I felt like I was almost, you know, setting Mulan up to look like Beavis and Butthead. I can't have none of that. I'm taking this character very seriously. Technically, she's not a Disney, like, princess, but I feel like, you know, she fits into that category of, you know, these strong female characters that that Disney has developed over the years. I don't know. Not loving this. I have had no practice drawing this character prior to this stream. I don't ask anyone to forgive any hiccups that I experience along the way, but just understand, you know, before you just start screaming, "Oh, you're doing it wrong," you know, that's fine. You know, I invite you to challenge me, you know, and try to do better. If anything, I had someone, you know, message me, be like, "I can't believe you didn't include this Disney princess." And blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, well, okay, well, then you draw it. You know, I mean, it's like in this day and age, some people have a lot to say, and that's fine, but, you know, not everyone's listening. That's just the way it is. Get back to the face just a little later. I want to start working on the body. Now, in the film, if you've seen it, she takes the place of her father in the army or some defense force to fight against Genghis Khan, or whatever they call him in the movie. It's been that long since I've seen the film. Who is my favorite Disney character to draw? Well, that's a very good question. I don't often draw Disney characters, to be perfectly honest. But when I do, it's usually Mickey Mouse. And Mickey is... it shouldn't be that surprising to people that he's very difficult to draw. And I mean very difficult to draw, because he's got to be drawn in such a precise way, otherwise it ain't Mickey. I'm gonna restart this body. First of all, gotta construct what it is that that I'm trying to do. I want to have her with a sword this with a sword. That's what I'm looking for. But out of the characters that I've drawn on here that are Disney, the one that I had the most fun with was definitely Goofy. So if I had to pick one, it would probably be Goofy because, you know, he fits my personality like a glove. You know, I'm sort of accident prone at times. I'm prone to embarrassing myself with some of the mistakes that I've made at various tasks, both work related and not. Just ask my girlfriend. I've done some really dumb things. I've done some really, really, really dumb things.
Hi, Christian.
Oh, this isn't right. Oh, this isn't right. I saw Mulan in the movie theater when it first came out in '98. And I remember going to McDonald's afterwards, and yes, they had the Szechuan sauce. Yes, I know that there was some controversy with Rick and Morty involving said sauce. And quite honestly, I mean, it's like this is where I think fandom, you know, just goes way too far with an obsession. Did Mulan slice her head off? Whose head? I don't know. I mean, nobody talking about cutting heads. Yeah, I think we gotta. Yeah, and I thought Simba was hard to draw. Yeah, because I think it was actually before we met Diane that I drew Simba on here on Drezen Draws, and I recall he was very time consuming and. Not exactly the most fun. I would probably have to say that Zazu was a lot more fun to draw than Simba. But if a character is voiced by Mr. Bean, I do not like the way this is going. Most erases on Drezen Draws, like ever. In this episode 74. One of the problems I'm having so far is, you know, and I think, you know, I kind of blame Disney for this a little bit. All of their female characters, for the most part, are, you know, they're so thin. And it's like, why does everyone got to be so thin? This is something that my mother brought up when we were watching her home movies one night. Looking at her grandparents, and she's like, oh my god, look at how thin they were. I'm like, who cares? It's not us anymore. I mean, we invented McDonald's, we invented a whole lot of things since then, and more importantly, you know, we got money. We got money now. My mother's one of 6 kids, and she got a job as a nurse. My dad's a pharmacist, so, you know, you put 2 and 2 together, incomes, that is, and, Yeah. That works. Oh yeah, Simba was a big challenge. I enjoyed it, you know, looking back. But you know, that's the whole point of Drezen Draws, is to challenge yourself. And I hope by doing this, you know, I'm able to, you know, light a fire, you know, to some other young artists who are looking to improve and hone in on certain skills. But you don't get there unless, you know, you put in the work. And I mean, even then, there's no guarantee that you're going to get there. but you'll at least improve. Or at least hopefully you improve. Everything takes time, everything takes effort. You know, I think I'm gonna change the pose up a little bit. I at least got the bottom portion of the body where I think I want it. Or do I? I don't know, I gotta think about this for a second. Let's see. I'm gonna put this back on the white space just a little bit. Oh, yeah. Say Mulan is maybe about 5'2" or 3. Let's say she's maybe about 5'1". And her legs can't be too long. And her torso also can't be too long. Otherwise, what freaking sense would that make? Let's see what we got. We gotta give it a sec. Okay, that is not the way we need to go. So we're going to go down. We're going to go back the other way. Actually, we're going to take the perspective off. What we're also going to do is, I think the legs are just a tad too thick. See, here's another story for you. Last year, when I was in, when I found myself in a relationship with a lovely woman that I now live with. You know, she didn't exactly beg me to draw Cinderella, but I was treating it as such because, well, you know, I want to make a good impression. And Cinderella was hard. Cinderella was very hard. But you have to remember, there was a time when, you know, guys working in animation were not thinking about drawing human characters. They were thinking about, you know, drawing dogs and cats and other animals, smashing the ever-loving expletive out of each other. Also got to keep in mind, she's not a samurai, exactly. Yeah, animals have always been a part of cartooning. It seems maybe because they were just easier for some to draw, or it was easier to find characterizations in them. With people, maybe not so much, and especially not, you know, legit human characters. This is a reference I made. Alright, that makes my life just a tad easier. Sword once I have all this stuff in place. Yeah, exactly. There we go. she's wearing boots. This is tough. This is tough because now, you know, I'm looking at this armor that she's wearing, and I'm thinking, you know, if I were to draw her in this position, it would almost look like her ankle was twisted. So we're not gonna go in that direction, I don't think. There we go. Now we can start to focus on the sword a little bit. There we go. After all, it's not Excalibur, nor is it meant to be. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to draw, you know, the Mulan in civilian clothing only because, you know, that would have been a little too generic. I mean, when I think of Mulan, this is what I think of. You know, I mean, she's going off to war against Genghis Khan. You know, that interests me, which is what makes Mulan one of the most unique Disney heroines. I mean, it's like, you know, she's got guts. Shan Yu. I don't know why I thought it was Genghis Khan. But, there you go. See, I don't know everything. You can see why I brought in the references. I don't draw Asian characters very often. And I feel like, you know, lately that's been to my detriment because, you know, Asian characters come up every so often, and I'm like, why do I not draw more Asian characters? I should, because, you know, I'm always striving for representation of culture and, you know, just people in general that aren't always represented, and in many cases, unfortunately, represented poorly, like the transgender community, and especially the black community, because you know, I've seen my fair share of cartoons with black caricatures, and from my own experience, if you go into it, you know, expecting anything groundbreaking, you are wasting your time. There we go. And Asian characters in particular have not been treated well on film up until, I'd say, fairly recently. I mean, you could go to something like Crazy Rich Asians. You could also point to Lucy Liu's character in Charlie's Angels, I guess. But when I think of strong characters of Asian descent, I tend to think of the Godzilla films because, yeah, I mean, of course, being made in Japan, you know, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Not that I'm afraid of offending somebody. It's not that kind of a statement. But I guess in a way they were free to dictate how people of Japanese descent or Chinese descent or Korean descent, they had more control over how they were represented. I mean, they were making the films, so there you go. But in the Godzilla films, the ones in particular directed by Ishiro Honda, women played very pivotal roles, such as in the first Godzilla movie, which, spoiler alert, it's a woman's betrayal of her lover that leads to humanity being saved and Godzilla being destroyed. So, I mean, you don't see any of the male politicians in the film really making any effort to dispose of the monster, outside of trying a nuke, which worked really well on Japan. Oof. But, politics aside, I want to represent as many cultures, as many different kinds of people as possible on Drezen Draws, in LuckyZilla, in every piece that I do. As many pieces as I do, because I can't, I'm not perfect. I gotta take this off. Whenever I draw a female character that has a bun in her hair, I feel like I always need to remind myself not drawing Harmony D'Angelo. Unless I'm drawing Harmony D'Angelo, which, for those of you who don't know, is the star female character in my ongoing weekly strip, Lucky Zilla. I can't even begin to imagine how heavy this armor was. And it may seem like nothing if you're active and fit and you work out a lot, but it's another thing altogether if you're somebody like me who barely exercises. Alright, let me go to that. If I had more time to prepare, and if I practiced today, like I kind of didn't plan to, I actually planned to do other things during the day, like finish one of the new Lucky Zilla strips, then I might be a bit more ambitious and try to throw Mushu into the picture. Because Mushu definitely was a highlight of Mulan, but he was a highlight without diminishing Mulan's role. Which being that she was like a really significant Disney character. You know, she wasn't a stereotype. She wasn't a gag character. She was very well developed. She was thoughtful. She was resourceful, and she was human, all at the same time. And I love that. And being that I have Disney Plus, I think I'm going to give this movie a watch very soon. This has been really hard, but I'm having a blast. Just in case anyone's wondering about my sanity at the moment. I have plenty of sanity, contrary to popular belief. Alright, we're moving along. May not seem that way, but we're getting there. This part of the uniform was dropped. They actually made the film, but I don't know, I'm keeping it in there for now. Yeah, she's looking good. Not perfect, but we're getting there. I think we're good there. I think we're in the home stretch. Nothing there. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add. Background color so that this way I don't miss anything when I'm coloring. Oh wow, that skin tone is... Okay, alright. I'm just gonna use my imagination for this one.
Hi, Kelly.
I'm gonna tell you straight out, this is not gonna be an all-nighter episode. So, I do not apologize for disappointing.
Because I'm good like that.
Maybe for President's Day I'll do a special stream, but we're not at President's Day yet. And don't even get me started on President's Day. It's a holiday, if you named it in my honor. Because on my birthday, I will be of legal age to run for president. And that's as much as I'm going to say politically here on Drezen. I mean, it's not 1,000% Mulan, but maybe it'll do it. Okay. We're about ready to finish up here. Layer there. Okay. I mean, what are the odds, Kelly Gordon, that that you come in just as I'm finishing? Because I mean, normally you're in the stream a little bit earlier. You know, yucking it up, being like, oh yeah, I'm smelling an all-nighter. No, in all seriousness, it's all good. Excuse me. So, here we are. 74 episodes of Drezen Draws. Yeah, I can't believe it either. So, yeah, let's see what we've got coming up next, because next week, yeah, I'm gonna kind of wear myself thin on this stuff, but I did this to myself. Hang on a sec. Ah, there we go. Sort of. Yeah. Where was I? What was the first art piece? Well, I only did one. 'Cause, I mean, as I learned from Cinderella, if you're going to draw a Disney princess, it is not going to be easy. And it is going to take a very long time. Anyways, next week we're doing a little bit of mashing up, which is something that I don't do very often. So I see other people do it, and I'm like, oh, that's their thing, you know. And when I go to conventions and I sell prints or whatever, I mean, I don't want to feel like, you know, oh, okay, that person's doing it, so I'm going to compete with them. I could if I wanted to, but, you know, that's just not my thing, you know. I mean, it's like I draw my stuff, you draw your stuff, and, you know, we try to help each other out. And that's how I've met a lot of really wonderful people at the shows that I've done. Kelly I've known since college, but Fat Guy Inc., Sebastian Bonet, Angel Lopez, the names are coming to me. I'm so sorry. Jesus. Robert Geronimo, Ellen Stetfield, Kyle Horn, John Klimyuk, who is also my lone Patreon supporter. Yeah, it's far too late for me to start like name dropping everyone that I could name drop on, and I swear I'm not doing this just to try to get to 1 hour time code, but it's just been a long week, and it's only going to get longer because I'm giving myself more and more stuff to do. I got 7 Drezen draws in a row, and this is the 4th in a row of 7 to start off the new year and new decade. So, I didn't go to PowCon. Let's see. What else was I going to say? Oof. That's right. I got things I need to promote. I do birthday parties and corporate events. I can come to you and do what I did here, only it'll be a lot more fun, and it'll be in the daytime on the weekend, so we'll have a lot more energy, but, you know, you see what I can bring to the table, so think about it. I also got a board game out, so you might want to get your hands on that, because it's fun. And I'm not just saying that because I made it. I didn't expect this, you know, thing that I intended to be just, you know, a way to, you know, have some fun with people at the shows. I didn't really expect it to take off the way that it did, but it's available on LuckyZilla.com for one and all, recommended for ages 5 and up, for hours and hours of family fun. I feel like the moment I press end live video, I'm just gonna collapse into a deep sleep. So while I fall down the rabbit hole, I would like to thank all of you who watched tonight's episode. Stay drawsome, and we will see you next week. Same time, same Facebook page. And kangaroos are awesome.